Hi, third graders. We are back for another comprehension check. This time it's a little different than what you did last week. We're going to be taking what we worked on last week and just ramping it up one more level to really push ourselves to work truly like third grade readers. So, again, just like last week, you're going to read for at least 20 minutes. That means not 15, not 18, 20 minutes or more. You have to do that first before you then come back here to complete the assignment. And don't forget to fill in your reading log. That's a separate document in your Google Classroom. Don't forget to fill in your reading log every day because you're having to do the reading for part of this assignment. So we want to make sure you're getting the credit and you're getting your minutes logged. So what you're going to be doing today is, again, you're going to be choosing two of the different comprehension activities to complete. There's the make a prediction, summarize, and envision, the three different activities that we've been using last week. So really try to do a different activity than maybe you did last week. Maybe you never summarized. Give that one a try. So try to make sure you're getting to see what each activity is like. And the thing we want you to be adding in this week is really focusing on that evidence from your story. Adding in the page numbers or the direct quote from the book that made you think what you did, that made you envision that made you predict that. We're trying to ramp up the level of our comprehension work just a little bit more as we go, so we keep working hard as third graders. So, for example, I am back in my book, Princess Pulverizer, Grilled Cheese and Dragons. So I was reading this again today, and I did another 20 minutes, and I got through more of the chapters. And one tip that I have for you when you're reading, like you'll see on my book here, is I use Post-its. When I read, I always have Post-its and a pencil right there with me. So as I'm reading, I can be jotting these things down so I don't forget. And so that when I'm done reading, I don't have to go back and basically reread to think, okay, well, where did I predict? Where was I envisioning something? I do it while I'm reading. So for example, I did prediction as one of my activities today. So I'm going to scroll down to where it asks for the activities, and I'll say activity number 1 for prediction, and I am going to make my prediction. And I had written it down while I was reading, just quickly jotted it so I didn't forget. And so I was making a prediction that Princess Pulverizer's dad, King Alexander, was going to be very angry with her for not wanting to be a princess and for wanting to be a knight instead. So I would be typing that in as my prediction. I predict that King Alexander is going to be very angry with his daughter, Princess Pulverizer, for wanting to be a knight and not a princess. Now remember, we can't just stop there. We have to add our evidence and add our why. So the I think this because, and this week we want us using page numbers and moments from the book that makes you think that. So this moment was on page 17. So I'm going to say, I think this because on page 17 of the book, we see a picture of her dad looking very mad. He also says, and I'm going to go back to the book, and he says, those are the things every princess needs to learn. So he was talking to her about the things that all princesses need to learn. He kept emphasizing all princesses, and he kept saying to her that she needed to do the things that princesses do. He also says that all princesses should be doing certain things, and he kept repeating that when his daughter was saying she didn't want to be a princess. So as you can see, my response isn't just one sentence. It's multiple sentences. It didn't take me very long. I did it in a couple minutes, but make sure you're really doing good quality third grade sentences. Use my examples to help you. These examples are here in the video. You can rewind, listen to them, use them to help you figure out how to do the response yourself. I used a Post-it while I was reading to jot down my prediction. I wrote the page number that it happened on, and I included that in my answer, finding my evidence on that page to put in my response. And then I would choose a second activity. I could either do a retelling or I could do envisioning. Again, when I do that for envisioning, if I were to pick a part that I was going to envision, we need to include the page number or the quote. So if I was going to be drawing what I envisioned here, I could say on page 24, I was really envisioning this part in the story. The part that it said was Princess Pulverizer pumped her fist in the air. The special face had done it again. Princess Pulverizer had gotten what she wanted. So I would type that quote directly into my book and say, this is the moment in the story, and these were the words the author used that made me draw the picture that I did. And so that way, if someone else were to pick up my book, they would know exactly where I found this moment that made me envision this. The last thing you're going to do in your assignment today is something new that's being added into our assignment. There is a table, a little box down at the bottom of your document, and it says, what are some unfamiliar or hard words you came across when reading today? We should all be reading books that are at our just right reading level that give us a little bit of a challenge, which means when you use that 5-finger rule, there can be, 3 to 4 to, a few words that are going to be a little challenging for you and might be unknown, or you might just have a little difficulty pronouncing them at first and then you realize what the word is. This even happens to adults. So this is again why I suggest having Post-its nearby. So as you're reading, you can jot down the words. We're not telling you to go look them up yet. That we don't have to do that step just yet. If you want to, that's great, you can. But what I want you to do is just to write down what unfamiliar words you came to. There were 2 unfamiliar words for me in this chapter. I had this one, which it took me a little while to figure out how to pronounce it, and it's triumphantly was a big word. And then the other word they had been using a few times, which was sacrifice. So any words that you see when you're reading today that are a little tricky or that you just don't know, write them down in here. Try to see if there are some words that you don't know. I know sometimes some of us might say that we don't see words that we don't know. If you do, put them in here and really make sure that if you're noticing that no words are tough for you and everything feels super easy, the book's probably too easy for you, because we should always be reading books that give us a challenge and are at that just right reading level, which means that there are going to be a few words that you don't know. So make sure that you're adding that evidence today to ramp up the level of your responses and you're pushing yourself to do your best third grade work. Happy reading.